Hi, my name is Joe Wheeler, and I'm a senior policy researcher at the Centre for Social Justice. Today, we've released two new reports looking at the concerning rise of school exclusion in our mainstream schools. Let's start with the national picture. Exclusion rates are rising again across all schools, with the highest suspension rate on recent record. These rates did drop during the pandemic as schools were forced to close, but what we're seeing now, following the legacy of lockdown, is a really concerning rise. As I said, suspensions are record high and permanent exclusions are rising too. Why is this such a problem? Well, part of this is that exclusion rates are higher amongst our most vulnerable communities. If we look at the data and characteristics of pupils who are suspended and excluded, we can see that the rates are highest amongst those with special educational needs, particularly those with social, emotional, mental health difficulties, and also the most disadvantaged in our society as well. So students who are eligible for free school meals are actually now 5 times more likely to be permanently excluded than those who aren't. So it's really, really concerning that school exclusion is higher amongst these groups. We know from historical research and data that exclusion has a real negative impact on pupils. That pupils who are excluded are less likely to achieve academically and more likely to go on to be unemployed and at risk of criminal exploitation. Exclusion is a necessary last resort measure for schools, but we should be looking at preventing it to support those at highest risk of need. Our research has uncovered some key drivers of rising exclusion, and the first concerns the pandemic. So rising complex needs in the aftermath of the pandemic, the impact of lockdown has had on the most vulnerable pupils is meaning that more and more are struggling to engage with the mainstream classroom. The second one, which is really concerning, is the school accountability system. So the measures by which schools are judged places great pressure on academic achievement, and those who are excluded are less likely to achieve academically. So what this does is create perverse incentives for schools to kick out kids who are struggling with their academic achievement. And this is shown really in some of the data. So this chart shows the registrations of children being moved into pupil referral units. And what we see here is quite a clear trend, is that in year 11, just before the January census, a spike in numbers of pupils who are being moved into pupil referral units. And the reason this is important, the reason this is significant, is because if a pupil leaves a school and goes into a different type of education before that January census, their results are not included in the school's performance measures. So what this indicates is that the year 11s are being removed from school at that crucial time before their exams, so that their results do not show on the school's records by which they are judged for academic achievement. It goes without saying that it's really a crucial time, year 11, when kids are sitting exams, and it's a really concerning thing that so many are leaving school and moving into pupil referral units at that crucial time. Academic achievement is absolutely imperative. High standards is absolutely imperative, but it should not be a focus at the expense of the most vulnerable pupils. In another report, we looked at exclusion rates and how they are higher in some of the larger multi-academy trusts. So what this chart shows is the different sizes of multi-academy trusts and how both exclusion rates and suspension rates rise in line with the size of the multi-academy trust. Now, some of the large MATs are responsible for taking on some of the most underperforming schools that have real entrenched behaviour challenges. This, coupled with the rising needs as a result of lockdown and the pressure that multi-academy trusts now face to demonstrate school performance, this really risks that rising level of school exclusion. So what are we going to do about it? Well, in our two new reports, we've put forward several recommendations for meaningful reform to try and turn this tide of school exclusion. I'm going to talk through a few of those just now some key recommendations that we have put forward. So the first is a renewed focus on inclusion, so establishing a national inclusion framework for schools and multi-academy trusts, providing guidance on what good inclusive practice looks like. We've also recommended that inclusion should be the fifth key judgment of Ofsted inspections, recognising it as such an important pillar alongside academic achievement as a measure of school performance. And we also recommend that a consultation should be run on the one-word judgments that could put schools under a lot of pressure. And also supporting schools and pupils, recognising that there needs to be more support in mainstream schools in order to reduce exclusion. So we recommend a review of initial teacher training in working with vulnerable pupils, and through CPD, ongoing development of staff and trust leaders to ensure that schools are equipped to deal with these rising challenges. An enrichment guarantee that will allow schools to guarantee extracurricular activities, extend the school day to give a more well-balanced offer in school and support children who are struggling to engage. And that includes a right to sport for children who are not getting that otherwise. And finally, we recognise the importance. It's absolutely vital that parents are involved and have a good relationship with school and their children in order to reduce exclusions. So we're recommending a renewed focus on that and a new parental participation strategy between schools and parents. It's really, really important that we try and tackle this and we try and turn the tide of rising school exclusions. So please head to our website to look at the full reports in detail. Thank you.